Welcome back, guys, to You Thought You Knew, the Kevin Federline Tome of Truth. And we're doing Tarot Tells the Truth, breaking down some of the stories that he tells in here. We're in chapter 19 now. And in this chapter, this is where we're really introduced to the conservatorship that is going on. Now, I'm going to do some side readings on this, and you can see those. I will have them in the Tarot Tells the Truth and the K-Fed playlist. So if you want to look for that. But I think that we are in a new battle for the conservatorship for control over Britney's estate. As of today, it is October 31st, 2025. And I think the K-Fed is instigating a battle over Britney's estate with the boys against the grandparents. So we'll do a reading on that separately. You guys can enjoy that. It'll be really fun to see if that's really going on. I think that's what's going on. I think K-Fed wants control of all of the money, and he's going to use those boys to get it. So you tell me in the comments what you think. But in this chapter, we're talking about the de-evolution of Britney. So when I first heard the word conservatorship, I had little to no idea what that even meant. My lawyer had to explain it to me, and Jamie gave me his take on why it was necessary. The courts had granted him control over almost every aspect of her life, career, finances, medical decision, to act as a barrier against further harm. It didn't take a genius to see that things weren't going well before this happened. The idea was to create some stability and ensure Britney had the structure she needed to concentrate on rebuilding her life and her relationship with our boys. At the time, I was relieved. I truly believed it was the right move for everyone involved. Once Jamie took over, according to Kevin, everything settles down. And Britney had been in and out of some facilities. There were some stopovers in locations. Doctors were being employed, all kinds of things like that. At this point, did Kevin really not understand what the conservatorship entailed? He was very confused. The information that he was given was adequate for him, but I don't think that he was included in this. Did Kevin ever realize that he was potentially at risk of losing his interest and his son's interest in the Britney estate? Nope. He thought they had a golden ticket. He was wandering around all day long. These are her boys. I'm good to go. So best thing I ever did, hook up with Britney. And now I've got two golden tickets. And if you remember Britney, when she came out with their little bump when she was pregnant with Sean Preston, she had the Eye of the Golden Ticket shirt on. So it was a very, very cute little picture of her. She really was so happy. I just saw a short of her running back and forth in the yard with the boys when they were probably like 8, 9, 10 years old. And it's just really, really awful what they did. After the conservatorship began, the judge insisted on having a court-appointed monitor present during her visits with the boys. It wasn't punishment, it was protection. Was this because of the sounding of the alarm when Britney was bathing her youngest Jaden, when they came and they had the standoff at her house and it resulted in the first 5150? Did K-Fed cause this court-appointed monitor? High Priestess. Worst idea ever. Four of Cups. The Sun in reverse. You know, when you split up with someone, sometimes their main goal is to make you look like the worst possible parent on the planet. And I think that Kevin Federline did that in folly. I think he tried to make Britney look like the worst possible parent because he is low class, low rate, and he just is a very base, douchey person. I think he did that. I think his behavior and his actions is editorial, very, very trashy. And I think that his goal was to just kind of yak, 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 bark at each other like one does in a trailer park or some other disgusting place. And I don't think he realized the consequences of the vilification of her as a parent.
Like a teacher in summer.
Like a what?
Like a teacher in summer.
Like a teacher in summer?
No class, no principals.
No class, no principals. Okay. Yeah. So did Kevin Federline, did he realize at this point the influence that he had over what happened to Britney? No, he walked away, started a new life, had his own demons. So, no. Was he really concerned for the safety of his sons? He says, I wanted to be sure they were safe. She'd see them for a couple hours a day, a couple hours, a few days a week. Could you imagine? Did he really believe that his kids were unsafe? Did he really believe that? No, he didn't. He did not believe that. He let all of the powers that be kind of drive the traffic on this. He acted like a trashy, emotional nitwit, and then he let the powers that be take over. What a piece of work. Unbelievable, terrible person. He found himself parenting with Jamie Spears, Britney's father. He was managing the schedules. He says they were trying to give her a space where she had more responsibility with the boys. Did he realize at this point, does Kevin know that Jamie is preventing Britney from having those children and using them as a punishment? Does Kevin realize that? Queen of Cups. Two of Wands. I think he did. I think he was told at this point, if she's erratic, if she's uncontrollable, we take the boys away. Two of Wands, we take them away. If she doesn't have her emotions in control, we take the boys away. And then we reward her. We reward her for her good behavior, for her compliance. Eventually, she was getting the boys for overnights once or twice a week. He said she seemed to be improving. He says he was relieved to see that. Was there another reason he wanted her to get the overnights? The Tower. He needed a break. He wanted to go cut it up. He said he was living the LA life. So, poor Britney. How was she at this point? She is not happy. And I am going to say over-medicated. This is the period of over-medication. I think, and there is an admission that her mother, when on one of the interventions, they crushed up a Xanax and put it in her drink. They actually drugged her. Oh, I'm sorry. It's an anecdotal story from Sam Lutfi. So take it from that source. It was on the Popcorn Planet 3-part interview with him. She's over medicated at this point. They are medicating her to keep her docile and stop her from sticking to her principles and her main theme. She's not happy at this point, kids. She's not happy. So Kevin says it felt like we were finding a new normal. Were they? Were they finding a new normal? Well, they were, but it was not sustainable. Because the new normal was based on her being overly medicated. That the placidity that they were getting was her being medicated. So the new normal, not so good. Around that time, she started working on music again. I'm pretty sure it was her decision. Though with her, it was always hard to tell. One day she'd want to dive back into work, and then she wouldn't. So how did K-Fed feel about her going back to work? You're saying she's not totally stable, but you're sending her back to work. So that makes sense. I do think in this moment, K-Fed wanted her to get her mojo back. Because how comfortable does one get when the Princess of Pop starts rolling out the pentacles again? I do think he wanted her to get her mojo back. And maybe there would be a bit more money. Was Jamie telling him that there wasn't a lot in the pot? Yes, Jamie was saying, we've got a lot of expenses, maybe down the line, things can change when the boys need more things. So I think that was going on. So, I didn't want to be in this position. I didn't want to be the one drawing lines and making demands, but someone had to. Someone had to put the boys first. So was he really putting the boys first? Two of Wands. King of Swords, Queen of Wands. I don't think he did. I don't think he wanted to really make the decisions and be the person in the responsible position. I think he gave a lot of this control over to either Lou Taylor or to Jamie Spears. I think he said, you guys deal with it. You're the business managers. I don't know. I can't even put $1 million away. I'll dump $500,000 someplace, but I can't put $1 million away. So, I think he is a big, big bozo. He now says at this point that every time Preston had to go to his mom, they had to pry him off my neck. He'd cry, he'd scream. Jaden was fine. He says that Preston was having night terrors. I have a kid that had night terrors. Angus had night terrors. His father had night terrors. Sometimes people have those. It doesn't mean that there's any kind of craziness going on. A therapist quickly confirmed what I already feared. This wasn't just separation anxiety. Preston was showing signs of early trauma even as a toddler. Preston felt neglected while Jaden received most of her attention. Is that true? Did Britney really favor one over the other? Two of Wands. Preston, Jaden. She wasn't really bonded with either of them. She did not really get to bond with either of them. I think there was a lot of hands on there. What were the issues with her? No, William got 4 and he got William got 5 and he got 3 or something like that. So Preston, Jaden. She experienced challenges with both of them. She was an inexperienced mother, and I don't think that anyone gave her the length and breadth of time to really get to know them. I think there was a night nanny, there were regular nannies, and I think the rest of the family kind of shuffled those kids back and forth amongst themselves and treated Britney like the pop princess she is and tried not to have too much going on with the child rearing. And that is a Hollywood kind of thing. Some of the Hollywood families really don't actively raise their children. But for her, I think this is a little bit different. So enter his K-Fed's nanny, Jenny. I think he says she's from Barbados. Steady, nurturing, soothing, patient. She understood the dysfunction the kids were experiencing. She went over to Britney's once and said, "No, please don't do that again. Please don't send me there again." If she's a dedicated nanny, she would not want to leave those boys in a crazy situation. Did Nanny Jenny actually say that? I think Nanny Jenny did. Did Britney say something to her? I think Britney just did things differently in her house, and Nanny Jenny didn't want to be a part of that. So K-Fed, again, using that to vilify poor Britney. Preston carried that pain for years, the night terrors, constant reassurance. He felt he wasn't loved as much as his brother. Did Kevin do anything to assuage that? 2 of Cups, 2 of Swords. He said, you guys can be brothers here, but, just look out for yourself when you're at your mom's. You'll always be loved here. He just exacerbated it. Oh, for Pete's sake. So, for Pete's sake, he claims that Britney disregarded all of the allergies that Jaden had. Is this true? I don't think that she disregarded the allergy warnings. I think it may have happened a time or two. It was an accident. And the first one was an accident. Maybe it happened again. The kid apparently has shellfish allergy too. Also, he says that there was one incident where one of the children actually went to the hospital because possibly some pill ingestion, and none of us heard about this. Is that true? I don't think that that's true. I think that was supposition. I think there was a sleepier than usual baby, maybe, and I think it was supposition that the kid may have eaten something. And I think he did take that kid to the doctor and they didn't prove anything. He goes on to complain about Jaden was kept on a pacifier far longer than he should have been. Welcome to co-parenting, because that happens. That happens. My ex had my son drinking out of a sippy cup until he was 8. That was a battle of ours that we had, so he wouldn't spill milk upstairs. But when I finally got Britney to stop giving it to him, it felt like pulling teeth. She also kept putting Jaden in diapers long after he'd been potty trained. Was she doing that? Two of Cups, Hierophant. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't think that she was doing that. He claims later that there's an incident where she comes in and strips Jaden down and puts a diaper on him in front of his new wife, Victoria. So there are other stories that the boys shared as they got older. Preston once told me she punched him in the face. Is that true? The Lovers, Queen of Wands, King of Swords. I don't think she actually punched him. She may have reprimanded him, but I don't think she actually punched him. I think that was just kids playing both sides of the equation. We may have to finish some more of this. So the conservatorship brought stability when it was desperately needed, but it came at a cost for everyone. And I understand why people questioned it. It's easy to judge when you're not living it, but the cycle hasn't stopped. It's been the same highs and lows year after year. Jamie Spears took on the role because he believed it was the only way to save his daughter's life. In the beginning, I could see the fear and emotional toll that the situation caused him and her family. As a parent, I couldn't imagine how devastating it must have been for him and Lynn. As an ex-husband, I can't imagine how difficult it was for Britney to be under the control of her father as an adult. Maybe things would have gone smoother if Jamie had handed off the conservatorship to a professional much earlier. So let's just take a peek. Kevin want that conservatorship now? Do you want that now? Let's see. Does he want it now? There's that nasty thinking. Oh, yeah. He wants to get back in the good books, guys. We are going to wrap up this chapter here. He wants what he once had. Let's get a brand new start. Papa's got a brand new bag. So, guys, I hope you're enjoying this series. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. I am sick to the teeth of this book, but I'm doing it all for you. And I'm doing it for all the Britney fans and for all the people that want to know the truth of the K-Fed Tome of Truth. So come back next time. We're going to be doing the next chapter. I think we're in chapter 20. Let me just see. Is it chapter 20? Blue?
You should always be in chapter 11.
You should always be in chapter 11. We're going to do chapter 20 left. We have 20 next, guys. We have 5 chapters left to go in this book. So stick with it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.